And we are live. It should auto tweet out and everything too. I like that this is going on Guy Boston Sports too, which means all of our regulars can see us. All the usual
I
suspects.
know. How exciting.
Very exciting.
We're finally back.
Excited about that.
For real.
Back officially. For realsies this time.
No preseason.
Disturb.
Right?
No preseason. That's it.
Automatically shares.
I know, right? We don't have to go.
I like that.
Evening, Jackin. How's it going, man?
Welcome. Does this want to work? Stream without the old internet. There we go.
Oh, God. Oh, Sam, I hope not. You started to freeze up a little bit there. It's early, Jack, and it's okay. It's okay. We'll see. We'll see who else hops in.
I had to tell you the most brutal thing is the internet. It's back. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about picking up an internet plan, do not get Verizon. Don't do it.
No, Verizon's bad. I could have told you that. But it's best to hear it from someone who has to live with it. And that, unfortunately, is Sam. So
it's me. And you guys can all see it.
Hey, welcome. Yeah, Celtics are back. This is a big game.
We are back.
I think it's cool.
Now, you may be wondering where Jack is. He will be here sometime before 6:30. But for now, you're stuck with Tim and I, right? It's not too bad. And we're excited for the home opener for sure, or just opening night in general. It's just they have the privilege of being at home. You probably did. Would not surprise me.
Oh, good Lord.
But
yeah.
We've got all kinds of things to talk about. You've got, first and foremost, the Bill Russell tribute today, right? I'm all for all of it except the jerseys. I hate the jerseys.
Yeah, but
I'm the biggest hater to everything that is not traditional.
I was gonna say, like, you were gonna hate it regardless of like what it looked like.
Some people they need to stop doing it.
It's Nike. Like, I'm not gonna say it's the team, you know, like part of it's Nike, and I also am not gonna knock it too much because Bill had a hand in designing it. So for that, like,
well, that's the problem.
I like him.
Tweet about it, and you're the villain.
Well, I mean, a little bit, yeah. What did you expect, Sam?
It wasn't me. I knew better than to tweet, but I saw people that did tweet, and people were happy with them.
I mean, I like them. I think it looks better than the first video. I definitely agree that it does kind of give that shade of like Bucks green. But yeah, these jerseys are actually one of the better ones. I mean, hey, it could be worse. Again, it could be like the Miami jerseys. Like the Miami Vice jerseys were amazing. And then they like brought out these weird ones that literally looked like the Zodiac Killer made them. Yeah. So it could always be worse. And considering there was the whole sleeved jerseys thing for a while, these ones actually look nice. I like the diamond touch on them. I always like a cursive font on a jersey. I always think that looks very, very good. Could the green be lighter? Sure. But I like that it's like an alternative. It's still green. It's not white. It's not black. It's a darker green to it. So is it necessarily almost like Bucks green to a degree? I agree, but I still like it. I think I'll buy one. They look pretty fresh. Can't lie.
You're part of the problem because people like you are going to buy these and they're going to say, hey, look at all this money we're making. We're going to keep pumping out crap. Now, whether you like these or you don't like them, it's the same story, right? Because like you said, Miami had great jerseys, and instead of keeping them, they scrapped them and tried something else so they could make more money. It's about the money. Now, you said it, Jack, and saying it. There are nice things about the jerseys, right? I don't mind the lettering. It's a decent change, right? But I don't know. I don't love the color. I don't like when they wear these things more than they should. Now, these, I think they say they're wearing 11 times this season, so it's a little bit better, right? Instead of,
Yeah.
it felt like a couple years ago with the banner jerseys, they were just shoving them down your throat. They're like, buy these, buy
I
them.
liked those though. I thought those were all right.
Nope, not when they're white and they replace the best jersey in the game. I hate that. I hate when they wear white on the road. It looks horrible. I mean, I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud. Don't mind me. I just hate it. It is all about six tonight. Did I put this up?
No, I don't
No.
think so. Yeah, Burke and we tend to agree there, regardless of whether you like it or not. It's a little bit darker, closer to that buck screen. Um, I mean, tonight is really big. I think it's important that the Celtics are doing this, and I think it's awesome that they're doing this in order to not only honor Bill Russell's legacy in Boston, but his impact as an individual on the city, um, doing what he did during his time here in a very difficult time. All of the stuff he's done for civil rights. He served as an icon and a mentor for a lot of the current Celtics as well as Celtics, of the past era. So, he's had impact from everything from like the KG Big Three on, and even before that. So, um, caps off to him. It's obviously going to be really, really tough. In the past few years, the Celtics have suffered a lot of losses of some legends. So, I'm just hoping that this motivates them even further, and they go win for Bill this season. That's my sentiment on it.
Yeah, they should have won last year. I'll keep hammering it home. But it is truly sad how many people they're starting to lose here over the last couple of years. Tommy, Havlicek, Sam Jones, KC Jones. I mean, it is just all happening now. And now
It's
Bill
time.
Russell, a day earlier in the summer when we all found out the news. But the whole league's honoring him. A lot of nice things going to be happening in his honor. So good, right? And
Yeah.
in other news, Grant Williams did not reach an agreement for an extension with the Celtics. Now, I'm no accountant, right? But how do you not get this done? I'm sorry. There is no benefit to not doing this right now. You aren't going to, unless he like hurts himself this season. That's the only way. That's the only thing that makes this worth it for you, is if he has like some crazy injury that makes it so he's not able to play at a high level. He is somebody that has given you solid minutes in his role. He was a big part of the run to the finals last season. Obviously, he had that big game 7 against Milwaukee. Now you're not paying him. Not that he wanted a lot of money, $15 million a year, and with the cap inflation with the new TV deal, which is next year, the TV deal, is it? Do you
I
know?
think so. I wouldn't know. I mean, like I could go ahead and like look it up right now. I also already had up the Philly money line. By the way, Philly is a plus 130 for the money line for those gambling addicts in the comments who are asking.
We'll have a free play for you later on in the stream here. Um, but back to Grant Williams. I can't believe they didn't extend him, because now you're running the risk of not paying him 15 million, which really isn't that outrageous. It's money that you can spend on him but nobody else. So if you don't sign Grant Williams, you don't get to spend that money. It's not like you can replace him with somebody else. You're running the risk of a bottom feeder team, middle of the pack team coming in this summer and making a big time offer towards Grant where he can accept it. And as a restricted free agent, if you want to keep him, you have to match it. So you could end up paying even more than 15 million, especially if he has another good season where he proves that he can defend and shoot the three at a high clip. Why would you risk that?
And I mean, I get that. I think this is kind of what the Celtics do, though, and I tend to not entirely disagree with it. I mean, you look at some of the extensions that they've signed in the past. Unless it was a situation like Jalen Brown or Jason Tatum, where like they knew what they had there, they generally aren't inking guys that early. Like they inked Rob, and then they got smart on that extension. But even then, it doesn't happen right away with everybody. Sometimes they let these guys test the market. I mean, there was a whole thing with Smart too, where he potentially was going to leave, but in my heart of hearts, I didn't think he was going to. But like, they still need to go ahead and put their money where the mouth is. Jack and I could pull up the free agency pool. I was pulling up the supposed NBA TV deal that could be coming up
The
Right now,
problem the problem with this is it doesn't matter who a free agent is because the money they can spend on Grant Williams cannot be spent elsewhere.
that
You
also
can't
is true.
you
I think he's
lose
talking about
that
the competition, though.
flexibility.
He's talking about the competition. He's not talking about like who the Celtics could sign. He's talking about competition for potentially people who would want to try and sign Grant. I
Okay,
think
fair
I
enough.
mean, there's a handful of like RFAs. I know that Woj tweeted out the other day too, talking about a couple people who are going to be hitting restricted free agency. When it comes to Grant, I mean, I think they'll pay him anywhere. I think we talked about it last time. They'll pay him anywhere between I think 13 to 18. I think the base floor, if it's anything under 14, it would be crazy. We do have the starters, by the way, guys. This is what we saw during the preseason, so it's not surprising to me. Lineup has very good spacing. It's got a lot of good ball handling, good movement there, so I'm happy about that. Getting back quickly to that NBA TV deal. This is an article back from September of 2021, so take that with a grain of salt. But at the time, the NBA. This is from CBS Sports. Um, NBA aiming for new TV deal worth 75 billion, which could lead to a large increase in the salary cap per report. Now, I don't know if there's been any kind of progress on that. I don't have. I tried to find something quickly, but if someone finds anything, feel free to share it in the comments. But if that's what the NBA is going to be looking at, there is going to be jump in salary. I don't know if it goes into effect next year, but that is probably going to be factored into whenever the CBA negotiations happen. Now, in terms of Grant, I think anywhere from 14 up is good. I think 14 to 18 is that sweet spot. I think anything over that is going to be a little bit much. And I think more so, I think it's less about the annual average value. I think it's just the number of years and the overall amount of money on there. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. The Celtics are notorious for kind of playing these situations out. Like it's not Jalen, it's not Jason. Like they're not going to go ahead and ink him to that. Yeah, I tend to agree. We talked about it a little bit before, Jackin, but yeah, I think 14 to 17 is that healthy range. I think 15 should be good. I think 15 mil annually, and that's supposedly what he was asking for. Celtics are going to see what his market is, and again, as you said, Sam, like they're gonna either have to match it or let him walk. And I don't think they'll let him walk. I think this is just them kind of seeing like what's the market going to actually be like? What are you actually going to be able to get out there? And I think anyone's going to be paying him anywhere between 14 to 17. I think that's a good ballpark. I think anything more than that is going to be significant overpay. And I just don't know unless he takes a massive leap, which is entirely possible, in which case I will put my foot in my mouth, but you never know.
We've seen good things from Grant so far in the preseason. He looks much more comfortable off the dribble. He's putting moves on guys, pump faking threes and driving. He cemented himself as a good enough shooter last season to where defenses have to pay more attention to him and actually respect him and close out on him hard. Now he's learning to deal with that. And if he continues to drive with ease like that, he could definitely be worth the money. And he could have been a bargain for whatever you could have paid this week.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what goes into that is going to be what the market's going to dictate. I think right now you could set him with that 15 million. I just don't, unless I hear what an actual solid offer was from the Celtics, I can't say that they weren't offering it. And if that's the case and they were offering close to it or just under and they were like, we're going to go ahead and test free agency, then fine. But in terms of what they're looking at for um, potential RFAs that could be on the market, there's some good names, there's some bad names. I mean, like I'm looking at the names here, man, and it's not anything that's going to really shock you. Um, I mean, there's some names that are worth mentioning. Jackson Hayes, maybe. The big one is Rui Hachimura. So I was surprised that Washington did not lock him up. I don't know what they're thinking. No, I tend to agree with what you're saying, Birkin. I think 4 to 60. I think 4 for 60 would be great. I don't know if they do a 5-year deal, but I think 4 for 60 is realistic with a fourth year like team option or player option, depending on how that wants to unfold. In terms of other guys who are open there for RFAs, Cam Johnson, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Matisse Tybalt, PJ Washington, Darius Baisley, Kobe White, Jackson Hayes, I think. I don't know if I mentioned Cam Reddish already, but he's on there too. So it's not crazy. I don't know without pulling up other teams' cap sheets. Yeah. To be clear, Birkin, I'm not saying that the Celtics are going after Hachimura. I don't think that there's no way they could make that happen. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. That would be freaking insane. But I just don't think that's happening. I just don't understand why they didn't go ahead and sign him. I don't get why they didn't sign him. Washington, I don't understand that move at all.
Who knows? I mean, they just paid Bradley Beal to keep him around, right? So why would
Right?
you not keep paying guys to make the team better around him?
And he's like one of your best younger pieces too. So like I don't really know what the angle was there other than like him asking for like an absurd amount of money. But again, like what can Washington go out and get that's gonna make more sense unless they think like he's not part of their timeline and they're committed to Bradley Beal's timeline, which I think we both agree on would be a huge mistake. But incredible is the yeah, Birkin. I mean, I think anyone anyone who
Is he
can play the
talking
four or
about
five,
Hachimura? How
he's still talking about this.
this is why earlier I was saying if they don't sign Grant Williams and pay him, they can't pay anybody else. This is free money they're playing with. There's no reason that they should be screwing around like this.
I wonder, Mitch, you might have a point there. I don't know if they're betting on it being a fluke, but I think they're like, let's see how this year pans out. If you manage to repeat last year's success, then okay, we'll go ahead and pay you the market. Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that also as well, Mitch. I don't think Hachimura plays defense like Horford. I mean, maybe he could eventually, but he's still so young. So I want to see how he develops a little bit more. But I think there's a lot of good potential there. I did look at there's not a lot of great restricted free agents. There's only like a handful that were going to be, highly in demand. I think Cam Johnson is probably going to be high in demand. Rui Hachimura that we hit upon, Grant's going to be high in demand. Um, it gets sticky with that, Jack. And so if they go ahead and they do a signing trade, I don't know how it works with restricted free agents without really double checking, but signing trades mean you get hard capped. So that for the Celtics would be a real big issue. I understand what you're trying to say and trying to do. I don't know. He didn't get signed, Mitch. Woj, I mentioned it earlier before you hopped on. Welcome, by the way. Welcome back, Mitch. Um, Woj had put out a tweet earlier saying all of the restricted free agents who didn't get inked. Yes, you are correct. PJ Washington did not get signed either. So those are a couple of guys who are probably going to generate some kind of interest. I don't know what kind of money they're going to get.
They're
Again,
not trading Grant right now. This is
I
this is the point of me being upset. All these solutions don't make any sense.
you're still going to end up at the end of the day if you trade him for another RFA, you're still going to have to try and pay that guy. And you'll have his bird rights, which is good. You'll be able to again match offers. I guess it really depends on what the trade market is because again, it's a guy going into RFA. You have to match whatever offer is going to be out there, regardless of what team you're trading him to. Like that team's going to have to be like, okay, well, we're going to have to give this guy a payday. And if he ends up playing well for us, we're going to end up having to pay him anywhere between 14 to 18 million. If we're lucky, no other team will try and make a bid for him and the market will be slow. But yeah, and I tend to agree with that, Mitch. I don't think he like this is the problem, right? Like you don't trade a guy who fits well. If he starts to play down and there's an offer out there that seems insane, sure, but I don't think that you just move him. And even at the deadline, unless you really think that you're so far apart in a deal, you just don't move on from that. Um, but that being said, cheapest guys. And yeah, don't get me started on Phoenix, man. I'm glad Sarver's selling that team. He is not a good person. He's a cheap guy. And DeAndre Ayton got paid and he still hates it there. So that tells you everything you need to know. In terms of tonight, because I do want to change gears back to opening night, which is amazing and awesome. How are you feeling about this matchup with the 76ers? They have Harden back. He apparently, according to him, lost 100 pounds and they've added PJ Tucker. Does that move you at all? Because I'm really not sure if it moves me.
He didn't lose 100 pounds. He's screwing with the media.
Yeah, of course he did. I mean, I'm like, let's not sugarcoat it, but yeah.
I don't know. I said to Jack earlier this week, I thought the Celtics would lose today. It feels like a big letdown spot to me. And this is why we can't have conversations. How many times? No, you can't. You cannot.
You can't. Again, restricted free agency would involve a signing trade, which involves getting hard capped. So you'd have to be beneath the hard cap to do it. And based on where the Celtics are right now, that's just not going to happen. I like the energy. I like the thought process, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I appreciate your energy though, Bergen.
But yeah,
Um,
back to
yeah,
today. I don't know. I have a it feels like you're coming off a finals run. Granted, a lot of these guys are coming in with a chip on their shoulder, which is good. Home opener, big ceremonies before the game. I mean, how many home playoff games did we see the Celtics lose last season that they really should have been pumped up for, that the crowd was ready to go, that it really should have been like a wash, a celebration? It didn't happen. They weren't very good at home in the playoffs last year. Doesn't mean it's going to happen now. It's not the same exact team. Coach is different, all kinds of different things. Leading up to this, I've just had like a weird feeling about it. You know, you don't have Rob. How are you going to be able to rebound? You've struggled with rebounding throughout the playoffs last season, and also in the preseason, you've not been good rebounding. It's really not what you wanted to see. However, out of all the people that guard Embiid, I'd say Horford's got to be the best. And I believe Embiid said the same thing on JJ Redick's podcast, or at least acknowledged that Horford does an excellent job defending him, at least to the public eye. Maybe not in his head, but he says that's what everyone says. And it's true. Horford traditionally has done a great job. Is he going to be able to do it today? He should. He had the whole summer off. I hope the wear and tear doesn't catch up to Al too soon. I don't know. This is just a weird. It's weird. We've never really done shows where you're coming off a finals run. It's hard to fathom, and it feels like we're in store for some disappointment. Disappointment, but we already got disappointed in the finals. So I don't know. Long story short, I have a weird feeling about this game.
I think it's also harder to set expectations too, right? Because you've got no idea what kind of energy they're going to come out with. Are they going to come out with a chip on their shoulder? Are they going to play up to that expectation that is now set out for them to be contenders, to right out the gates, coming out swinging, setting the tone right off the bat? I mean, Jason Tatum talked about it a little bit in his interview at practice the other day, but talking about how the team is running a smaller lineup out there. And he's like, essentially, I'm the tallest guy out on the floor. And now we need to figure out how we need to rebound. And that involves everyone being on the same page and putting in the effort. That means boxing out. And, if you're not going for the rebound, someone else needs to, but you need to do your job by boxing out your man. So they're going to have to tackle that issue. And I agree with this, Jack, and too. If they get more than 25 assists, they're definitely rolling. The ball movement looked great in the preseason, but we'll see how that keeps going into the regular season. I think the addition of Malcolm Brogdon, I think Brogdon is the X factor right out of the gates because they don't have Rob. I think Brogdon adds a whole lot to that second unit. So he's been feeding a lot of guys and he looks great. So I'm excited to see what he does against Philly because I think this is a really good test for this Celtics team, especially after Philly's added a few pieces. Even if you're not completely moved by it, they've still, on paper, gotten a little bit better. But again, talk is cheap until you actually get on the court and you show what you got. I am also concerned. Keith mentioned this too, and I don't know if they've gotten any kind of update, but they how they send out like tweets basically saying, here's the starting lineup. Luke Cornett was like not listed on the Celtics roster the other day when the NBA posted their lineup out there, when they posted the full Celtics roster. It was like in a press release. So I don't know what's going on there.
I think that was just a mistake.
Yeah, I figure as much. And I mean, Mitch says this, I wish they would cut Cornett and sign Favors. I tend to agree with that. I don't know. I mean, he was a healthy scratch from their last preseason game for what it's worth. Yeah, Keith did update it. Yeah, I figured Keith is so in the know. I love Keith. He's so good with contracts. He's so good with a lot of stuff. But Keith is a fantastic follow if you don't. But I am interested to see if they kind of try and address this rebounding issue at all, if they feel like they're comfortable with Cornette moving forward. And I'm interested to see if he gets any minutes tonight. I mean, you went out and you signed Blake Griffin, so I'm interested to see if they get him in the fold too. And like you said, Sam, like if you have to worry about Al Horford's durability this year, that definitely is going to put a wrench into these plans with Rob out.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
With Rob out of like the equation right now, it definitely is going to impact like Al Horford's minutes. So I just wonder how they're going to try and navigate that. I mean, they're clearly starting a smaller lineup, but I'm just wondering. Yeah, they have to guarantee it for opening night. So you are correct, Mitch. Yeah, I mean, and that's very little money. So I mean, I don't think they're going to waive him anytime soon. Unfortunately, I mean, he could be trade fodder later down the line. Who knows? It depends who's available, but right now their roster is full. especially with the signing of Vonleh. They got Vonleh and they got Jackson. So those guys filled out the rest of the roster.
Vonleh, who was excellent throughout the preseason, I thought he really earned the contract. He's somebody that they definitely needed to bring in because of the difficulties they've had rebounding the ball. He's built like a tank. I mean, he's massive. Did not know how big Vonleh was till he showed up, and obviously doesn't have the old sleeves on there. Gun show at the Garden. But I'm glad he's on the team. And again, provides some extra depth tonight with the paper thin rotation, aforementioned in the chat. Now, we did have some people commenting about bets, so I will give out the free play of the night presented by my good friends over at Smash the Odds. You can follow them on Twitter. Let me make sure I've got it right. At Smash Odds. They're always giving out free picks, and you can buy picks if you decide to do so. But Derek White over 1.5 threes minus 120. It's a good bet for you. Good value, especially since he's in the starting lineup. Go get that. Good odds. Make yourself some money and give them a follow. Good people over there.
Yeah, that actually is a pretty good bet, especially with the way that Derek has been shooting in the preseason. If that corner three is legitimate, that just helps the Celtics spacing so much more.
And he was not screwing around last week in Toronto, or in Montreal, rather. He was knocked down from three. So if he's riding that wave into the season, one, very good for the Celtics, and two, very good for you if you take that bet. And we have some very negative chat comments here. Well, that's not very kind. What do you do, Michael? Of course. Very unkind in the chat from Michael. He is not
a regular. Don't know
he's
who
not
you
a
are.
regular. He has not told us what he does. I wonder if he could help the Celtics. Do you think he could play center for him?
I'm going to say no.
No?
Yeah, probably, Mitch. You might be right there.
Maybe Lakers.
Mean, yeah. Oh, God. And I feel bad for the Lakers, man. You know, they've only a little bit, just a little bit. Only because they went out. They went out and they signed Schroeder, and
Can I
Schroeder's
kick
hurt
you
now.
from this?
Me? I mean, Schroeder gets hurt, and they went out and they signed Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant's out for like 3 weeks now, too. And then Russ obviously got hurt the other day, too. So, yeah, I mean, they're in a hole. I don't know what that team's gonna do. I mean, that's gonna be ugly. They play Golden State tonight, right?
Golden State, yep.
That's gonna be ugly. How much do you think they get blown out by?
I think they'll get blown out, but then like I half think they'll win. You never know. That's the problem. Like I feel like opening night games are such a crapshoot because you got the Warriors getting their rings and like emotions are going to be high. You have the Draymond thing. Like you have that surrounding the team. Is it going to be a distraction? How's it going to affect them? There's so many different variables, at least on the Warriors side of things today, where it feels like they might be a bit vulnerable, you know?
And that I tend to agree with.
Yeah.
I do think that there is a chance there, but I don't know, man. Like the Lakers just I feel like they are in such a spot and it's like a mess of their own making. I can't even begin to fathom how they're going to get through the season. But yeah, Birkin, I mean, it depends on how the West shakes out, but I mean, you start to count teams on your hands, like in your fingers, and you're like, okay, I don't see how they make it.
A lot of good
Unless they
teams
get
everywhere.
lucky. Yeah, and I mean, it's just a lot of good teams in both the East and the West. It's going to get really interesting to see who takes down those like last four. I think we kind of already have an idea who's going to finish top four for each conference, but you know, yeah, Lakers are an unmitigated dumpster fire, Jack, and I tend to agree with that. But Jack's making it in for the last second, fellas.
Dude, here, Jack, I'm not even going to change the thing.
Well. Welcome to opening night, sir.
Traffic was tough. Hello.
Welcome back.
How are y'all doing?
Doing good.
Well, go ahead, Jack. You want to wrap us up?
Are you guys wrapping up now?
It's 7:31.
I know. It's 7:47 tip. So,
wait, what?
Oh, because it's
TNT, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I want to get settled. You know, I gotta warm up the couch. I got like a nice little indent where I usually put my butt, so I gotta warm it up.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Jack, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm glad all the streams. Oh my God, look how many platforms we're streaming on. That's crazy.
I
Beautiful.
know.
Love
I
it.
love it.
I was
Love it.
clicking
Okay.
all of them. I was like,
Yeah.
oh boy, I'm getting tired.
Yeah, there you go.
Carpal tunnel.
But yeah, you guys wrapping up now?
Yes.
Yeah.
All righty. Well,
Any parting thoughts, Jack? The floor is yours.
no, I'm excited. I think it'll be tough with Joel Embiid, and I think PJ Tucker is going to add an element that's going to be tough to deal with for the Celtics because he's a good wing defender. But I don't think they have the necessary defenders to guard Jason and Jalen. I mean, if Tucker's going to be on Tatum, so that means Jalen's going to be guarded by Tobias Harris. I'm okay with that. James Harden, I'm okay with that. Tyrese Maxey, I'm very okay with that. So I think they'll be good. I think they'll probably ride the offense. I think the defense is obviously going to take a step down with Rob, but their offense looked good enough in the preseason where that probably shouldn't matter too much. So that's where I'm at. I'll keep it quick. But
all right,
yeah.
Jack with the rapid fire takes.
There you go. I'll keep it quick and fast. But you want me to do the wrap up, or you guys want to take?
You can do it. You're here. You haven't
Please.
said
Alrighty.
much.
Have the honors.
You guys all set? No last final thoughts. All right, I guess you gave all those while I was in the car. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Whether you're watching on YouTube, actually, Sam, I was gonna say, Sam, you're getting cooked in the TikTok comments right now. I know
am?
you're not on TikTok, but you're getting cooked for
Why?
I posted something about Grant extension. Tim, basically, I asked Sam a bunch of questions of, is Grant Williams better than this player who makes this amount of money? They were like Tim Hardaway Jr., Lauri Markkanen, Davis Bertans, Duncan Robinson, and Malik Beasley, I think. And Sam was like, Grant's probably more valuable than all those guys. And it's up to 4,500 TikTok views now. And everyone's like, damn, man, went 0 for 5 or just cooking Sam's takes. So I wanted to tell you that before we go. But
Well, you didn't jump in and disagree with me, you prick.
Yeah.
that's because I agreed with you.
I
That's 'cause
know.
think
Well,
you're
yeah,
right.
but you love Grant, so it's just like, yeah,
I do.
Of course you're gonna
I do.
say that.
Okay,
I'm
well,
biased.
they're saying
I
0
think
for
value
5.
is. I think value is different. Like value is
Well,
completely dependent on what team he's playing for. And I
0
think
for
that's
5 would
totally fair.
insinuate that Davis Bertans is better than Grant Williams, and at that point, I'm
I
sorry.
disagree with that. I think he's better than Lauri Markkanen.
Yep, Sam said the same. Anyways, I'll stop stalling.
I say
Thank
he's
you
better
guys
than
so
all of
much
them, so.
for tuning in. I appreciate it. Whether you're watching on any of our Twitters, how about them Celtics Twitter and YouTube and Twitch, or the Guy Boston Sports YouTube page, which we got connected finally. We've got that. Appreciate you. Subscribe to all those channels. Follow on Twitch, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the Banner Town Build Up. We'll be here before every single Celtics game, and we'll see you guys before the next one. Peace out.
Cheers.